This is the Horse Radio Network.
On the Dressage Radio Show next week, Edward Gull joins us to tell us about his record-breaking win at the European Championships and his relationship with Moorlands Tortillas. It's an episode you won't want to miss, so tune in next week for episode 16 of the Dressage Radio Show. This is episode 15 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, presented by Equestrian Life, exclusive coverage of the world of dressage. We would like to thank our sponsors, Equestrian Life. They can be found at equestrianlife.com and Kentucky Performance Products online at kppusa.com. This is Chris Stafford in Lexington, Kentucky.
And I'm Reese Koppler-Stanfield, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show presented by Equestrian Life.
Well, welcome back again, Reese, and thank you for standing in for Heather while she's touring the country, and we appreciate you being our co-host again. You're getting quite the old hand at this, so you've already got our show lined up for today. What can we look forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to speaking today with Katja van Andel of Dressage Direct, and she's going to be speaking to us about the European Dressage Championships, and I'm so excited to hear she was there, and I got to see some of the test online, but I can't wait to hear what she has to say and how it was in person.
Well, it certainly is going to be a thrilling review, because it was record-breaking, and I know it got an awful lot of publicity. If you have any interest at all in the dressage world, and I think even for people that didn't know much about dressage, who might have been at the Windsor show for jumping, I think this would have caught their attention. Record-breaking performances, and Katja has been covering dressage for a number of years. I know this, even this would have impressed her, so we're looking forward to talking to Katja today. And what have you been up to since we spoke last week, Reese?
Well, we've had an exciting week this week, and we have quite a few horses that have actually are doing some jumping. So I spent a little time at the horse show in Jumperland, which is always an exciting and different. And training, Casper is back in full work and is loving his work after his little vacation. And we've had perfect weather. It's been nice and cool for August. So we've had a really fun week, and everyone's looking forward to the September shows and continuing working. It's been great.
So you teach students in jumping and also eventing, right? Do you have some eventing students?
Well, I have a lot of eventing students, but I just do the dressage portion. I'm really just the groom when I take. We have a jumping rider, Daniel, and he takes all the horses, but I end up kind of grooming for him. So it's a fun little adventure, and I like all my young horses to get some experience jumping and just seeing some different things. It just helps their kind of mental attitude, and going to jumper shows, I think, is a lot more hectic than dressage shows. So we take our young ones just for some experience, honestly.
Yeah, and we've heard, I know Heather, for one, is a rider that uses cavalettes and poles as part of training. And do you do that? Do you put poles on the ground to help them with their stride patterns and rhythm? Do you use those as an exercise?
We use them a lot. We use cavalettes a lot. We do, again, I have no jumping talent whatsoever, so I have a jumper trainer, a professional that comes in, and I also spend a lot of time, we're lucky here in Kentucky to have beautiful fields. So my horses do a lot of walking and trotting on hills. Even Casper goes out every day, especially when the weather's perfect and sunny and 70 degrees. They're all out on the hills, and I find that just to be just a huge resource, along with cavalettes and things in the ring. But we're able to have wonderful hills that my guys, really it helps their cardiovascular strength, helps their backs, their hind legs, and just a break to go out. They're still working, but they don't think it's as difficult. So it's a fun thing that we do.
Yeah, I think, as you say, it's really good mentally for them, and allowing horses to be horses. So, I think
Exactly.
anything we can do to vary things for them is wonderful. And a lot of people do that.
Yep.
Whether they're dressage horses or not, don't have to be jumpers to be using poles and cavalettes, right?
Exactly. And there are wonderful books and things and resources online if you have questions, certainly your instructor, but there's also just wonderful resources. You can kind of learn how to do it, and it won't hurt anyone, but it's a fun way to get some strength and work on rhythm and things like that.
Terrific. Well, I know we're going to come to your tip of the week a little bit later on in the show, but first of all, we have some news items, Reese. Some news from the USDF. The US Dressage Federation is going to be inducting 2 new Hall of Famers. That's Linda Zhang, the well-known judge, and also Debbie McDonald's former partner, Brentina. They're going to be inducted into the Roma Foundation USDF Hall of Fame later this year, and that's December the 4th, during the annual convention, and this year's going to be held in Austin, Texas. So we're looking forward to that. They will have their moment of fame and glory at the Salute Gala and Annual Awards Banquet on December the 4th, and that honor of being inducted into the Hall of Fame is something that's bestowed upon horses and individuals that have made outstanding contributions to the sport of dressage in the U.S. And I think you would agree, Reese, that both of those individuals have certainly done that.
Absolutely. Both Linda and Brentina, just a huge part of our dressage in the United States. So it'll be fun to walk in the Hall of Fame and see their portraits there.
Wonderful. Well, on a positive note, we've had a little bit of negative press in the sport of dressage in recent months with doping issues, but we're happy to report that the Aachen World Equestrian Festival, that with their very strict anti-doping measures that they imposed this year, came away with no positive results at their show earlier in the summer, and we're absolutely delighted at that. They have more veterinarians than ever before that were there to monitor the stables and carry out testing. And they also used thermographic cameras that apparently can detect minute quantities of chemicals on horses' skins. So very sophisticated technology that they've been using over there in Germany, and it clearly has paid dividends because there was no positive tests. So that's very good news for the sport, isn't it, Reese?
It is. It's very good news, and certainly we are all in dressage and horses because we love the animals, and so it's a good thing to hear, and it'll keep everything in future competitions where it should be. That's exciting.
Well, that program, of course, was implemented following the suspension, as I mentioned, of several dressage and jumping riders whose horses tested positive for the use of prohibited substances at the Olympic Games last year and other events this year. Yep,
exactly. So, well, Chris, I'm excited to say that we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back with a discussion with Klatia about the European Dressage Championships.
It is fantastic to have our friends at Equestrian Life as the title sponsors for the Dressage Radio Show. If you have not been to Equestrian Life yet, you need to go. In addition to being the official social community for the Horse Radio Network, it is one of the fastest growing horse communities on the internet. It is truly the Facebook for horse people. The goal of EquestrianLife.com is to bring equestrians together and to provide them with the breadth and depth of information and tools they need to learn and connect with other horse lovers who share the same passion. EquestrianLife.com is a fun, inviting website that strives to provide its members with a world-class experience that fosters the expression of all the ways people enjoy their horses and the people who are part of the horse world. EquestrianLife.com's social media platform provides users with cutting-edge applications and tools, such as people and horse profiles, social Q&A, status updates, messaging, photo uploading, groups, comments, blogs, expert high-definition videos, directories, birthday reminders, alerts, messaging, and on and on and on, in addition to their partnership with the Horse Radio Network. This community is designed by horse people for horse people and is filled with educational and entertaining video and audio all about our horses. Right on over to Equestrian Life today. Sign up for free and tell all of your friends. If you love horses, EquestrianLife.com is the place to be.
Well, thanks again to our sponsors, Equestrian Life. EquestrianLife.com is our social networking site for the Horse Radio Network, so we encourage you to visit them at EquestrianLife.com. Well, we're coming, as you mentioned, Reese, to our guest this week, Klaatje van Andel. Klaatje van Andel runs a dressage website called Dressage Direct. She's an affiliate of the Horse Radio Network and the Dressage Radio Show. And I've known Klaatje a while. She's been covering the sport for many years. And she, of course, is from Holland, who have an awful lot to celebrate. So let's catch up with Klaatje and what she experienced last week at the European Dressage Championships in Windsor, England. Well, Klaatje, are you still celebrating from the weekend, or have you actually recovered from what was just an amazing, amazing dressage competition?
Well, I brought home some champagne, but we didn't have time to drink it yet, I must say. And my head is overwhelmed by all the wonderful images of horses just competing more than they could do, actually. And it was not only the Dutch that were doing the best ever, but almost all competitors were doing more than they could do. So I don't know what was with the venue in front of the Windsor Castle, where it was a haunted venue or a magical venue or whatever. But I've never seen this soil and competing, these great horses, all these great moments. I'm not used to this, so I will have. I need to think about a year to be ready with this. It was amazing.
And as you say, a lot of the competitors really put their best foot forward, and we saw amazing performances by the British team. Their dressage generally has been improving by leaps and bounds. We had Desi Dillingham on the show a couple of weeks ago, who has been the driving force behind British dressage.
Yeah,
and of course we've seen them get on the medal podium for the first time now in a long time. But Reese and I, of course, being in the States, we could only listen to the dressage commentary on the website, and we just saw Tortillas' last freestyle test. So we were getting excited on this side of the pond, weren't we, Reese?
Oh, we were. It was beautiful. We were able to see it on YouTube, but I could only imagine. It gave me goosebumps on YouTube. I can't imagine. What was it like in person?
Yeah, when you saw it in real, you could not even believe your eyes. So you could not think this was real happening, because everything was magic. The way he was using his legs, his body, the total performance, together with the music. And in the first two tests, the Grand Prix and the Grand Prix Special, he already had done marvelous, amazing things. All judges were talking about it, that the 10 was even not enough. In the Grand Prix Special, he rewarded him 23 times with a 10, and were thinking, this is not enough. We cannot give more because we don't have more, but what could we do, the judges said. And then the freestyle added something extra magical to it. It was amazing.
And watching this, and you're seeing the standard improving so much, Klaatje, and you've been following dressage now for so many years, and you've never seen none of us have seen anything like this.
No.
But
no.
What does it tell you where it's going in the standard of riding and the actual performance? It's one thing to ride at home, but it's another thing to go in the competition arena and perform on the day when you need to this level.
Yeah. It was really amazing. It was like all horses coming out of the arena and telling the other horses in the warming up arena, there's nothing happening there inside. You don't have to be afraid. Just go in and do your thing. It was like they all were inspired by any other horse and just did their thing. And you hardly, normally at championships, especially on Grand Prix, it's a mistakes festival in Grand Prix, because all riders are tend to get no mistakes and to get a score for the team result, etc. And that already was amazing what was happening in Grand Prix. We already saw many very good tests, for instance from the 9-year-old horse of the Austrian rider, Vicky Max Toyer. she was in the Olympic team with her 70-year-old horse Falcao, and now she had a 9-year-old horse Brock with her, a German-bred horse from the Rhineland region, Augustin he was called, and he did amazing things already, and she became 5th individually in the Dressage Grand Prix overall. And then imagining this strong German team, or not even the German, but they did the very best as well. But this strong Dutch team and the strong British team, and then becoming 5th, that was something you could not think of that would happen, but it happened. And then the British rider, Laura Bertelsheimer, she's only 23, 24 too. And she has an amazing horse, Mistral Hoiris, who is a bit scared in the arena normally, but she already scored a record for Great Britain at the London Olympia Horse Show last December. And now she did it again. She again scored an individual British record, and she took the British team to the silver medal. And you said it was outrageous, and it was. They never had a silver medal in dressage. They never had. In history, it never happened before. Now, and then talking about the Dutch, the last rider, Edward Gall, he didn't even have to ride anymore because the gold team medal already was there, and it was just for him that he wanted to prove he had probably the best horse in the world, and wanted to show the world that his horse is from another place. So he took the individual world record and the win of the Grand Prix test, and of course the team gold. But it was already certain that the Dutch received the team gold, so it was all about amazement and amazement.
Well, before we get on to the other rides, Klaatje, I just want to talk a little bit with Reese about the rideability of these horses. I mean, you know, as a Grand Prix rider, you can do all the preparation in the world and be absolutely spot on before you go into that arena. But once you get into that arena, it's all about rideability, isn't it? And how much you can ride your horse.
It is, and I'm just amazed hearing how young the horses are. These are not really experienced older horses. I mean, these are 9 years old, 7 years old. You're going into the ring and doing this, and this, it sounded like it was just an incredible venue and just a huge ring. And to go in there and do that, I loved your comment that the horses are coming out and saying it's okay, come in, go do your thing, and that's really an amazing feat for them, and it just sounded just beautiful to watch, and truly those big arenas, the horses, sometimes they go in and they're so big that they just don't know anything but to listen to the rider, and that's what it sounded like, and it just sounded just amazing to be there.
And talking about rideability, Klaatje, the Dutch really had it all their way this past week in Windsor. And the Germans didn't have their A team, not least of all because Isabel Werth it was not able to compete. Tell us a little bit about the dynamics there between the German and the Dutch team then, and how much really that impacted, because on the one hand you've got that much better performances from the Dutch and some of these other riders, and on the other hand you didn't have the best of the Germans.
Yeah, I must say I've spoken to a lot of German trainers, because there are always hundreds of German trainers there as well, of course. They have a lot of they influence the sport very much. I never had a championship where all trainers agreed on the winners. There are always championships, and the trainers say, "Well, didn't you notice this or that? This could have been better. That could have been better." This championship, everyone agreed on the winners, and no one said this is too weak or that was not okay. This championship was amazing in that point of view as well, and the German trainers, they all congratulated the Dutch and were happy for the Dutch, and not only for the Dutch, but because they were happy for the sport. They said it was now Holland that took dressage into a new era, and we are all grateful for that. This is what dressage needs. We now have seen the 10s. We've seen the 10s, and we all can work for 10s to get the ultimate scores. And we see now it's not especially that it was Dutch, but it was a big example for the sport, and all judges agreed on it, all trainers agreed on it. So that was another amazing thing happening this championship. Dressage has been in a lot of rumors about the judging, about the doping, about not agreeing on the format of shows or whatever. But now the dressage gave an answer itself, and they fight it at the place where they have to fight, in the arena. And now dressage sport has won for me. It was amazing.
It truly has, and it, as you pointed out, Claudia, it's really taking it to a new level. We've raised the expectations, haven't we now? And so when the Tortillas and the Revels and the Parsifals go in the arena, we're expecting great things.
Yeah, we are. And you were talking with Reese on the rideability. I think one of the major things of this championship is that the rideability proved the worth of the tests. Tortillas is very rideable. Parsifal, now when he is out of his fears, he's very rideable, and he's very focused and concentrated on his rider. He didn't see anything at all. He was not in the Olympic team last year because he was too unconcentrated, and he feared everything. He was spooky and was running away, and he did everything, which was not meant to happen in the arena. And now he just was focused, and there was harmony between the rider and the horse, and he was obedient and harmonious, and he just did everything. He didn't spooked at all. It was the same with Laura Bertelssheimer's horse. He explained to me the British rider that took the bronze in the individual medals in the Grand Prix Special. She said he's always very scared, and he was scared to music, and he was reluctant to go into the arena, but he wasn't this time. He just was. There was harmony between the rider and the horse. So those riders have found a way to work with their horse in any circumstance. So I think that is the way to keep the relaxation and to have the harmony on the first place. That is the way that dressage really needs now, and that they show the world. So it's great.
Well, of course, Edward Gal is now, obviously the star of dressage and on everyone's lips. And, of course, he was excited as anybody could possibly be after his round. And we have his reaction to his ride. So let's just listen to Edward's reaction to his winning ride at the European Championships.
Yeah, it was. It felt so fantastic. And then I hear the scores and 90 point something. And, that's not normal anymore. And he's 9 years old, so... Oh man, I had such a good ride and it felt so good. I only had the mistakes in the one times I hit, but I didn't felt it at the time because I felt so good. And what can I say? It's fantastic.
To break that 90% barrier, unbelievable.
Yes, unbelievable. And I didn't expect it, but I know he could do it. But it's okay. I had in Hickset, I had 89, so I think 90 must be possible. But that it was already here, I didn't know.
Well, that was very exciting. Claudia, he clearly has set the standard now, but he already did that on day one. So take us back to the Grand Prix on day one and the beginning of the competition there. How did it all start for you?
Well, it did all start on the day one with Adelinde's ride for the Dutch. They hoped she would do very well because she had won 3 World Cup qualifiers this winter, but unfortunately was out in Las Vegas because her horse got lame. And now the Dutch were very happy for her that she was back, and she is your neighbor girl's dream. She has no sponsor. She has no rich parents. She has no big lorry to bring her horse with. She's simply driving a horse and a car and a trailer. She has nothing special but her wish to do this. And she left her job last year because she wanted to give her ride more possibilities. She was a school teacher, and she saw that she needed to have more time and to concentrate on the riding alone. So all Dutch little girls in every street, they are happy with her example, taking her example as their own dream as well, that it is possible to come from nothing without a sponsor, without a very expensive horse to do this. And on day one, she already took the Grand Prix with a very high score of 80%. On day one, she leaded the scoreboard. And then day two, Enki, of course, added her team result with it that the Dutch were certain of the gold. But very surprising on day 1 and 2 were also the German riders. The German riders, they didn't have Isabel, they didn't have Heike Kemmer because her horse Bonaparte got lame very short for the Europeans as well. They didn't have very experienced riders, but the good news for the German was that next to Monica Teodorescu, who has a lot of experience, of course, that next to her, they had 3 younger riders in their 20s. These 3 nice horses. The horse of Matthias Alexander Raad being the best one. He is of his stepmother Ann-Katrien Linsenhof, and she won with this horse the German team gold 4 years ago at the European Championships in Hagen in Germany. So she added to the German team gold there, and now her stepson is riding the horse, and he did a great job. He was out of the team for the Olympics because he was studying and he was not concentrating himself too much, and the horse spooked and did everything he was not allowed to. But this championship, it was the magical arena, probably, I don't know, but this championship, all German riders rode better than they were expected to. In Germany, they didn't think they would win any medal, but now they took the bronze with this amazing silver British team and the amazing gold Dutch team. So they were the amazing German bronze team. So I think this is also a good promise for the dressage in the future, that you should not only stick on the older riders with their experience, because you have to give new riders and new horses a chance to get experienced as well, because otherwise your sport is going to die. You need the new ones.
Well, that leads me to the point that Anki has acknowledged that, this is a new era, that there are other riders, at her level that are now coming to the forefront, clearly, when we've seen that now for a few months. And she, at the same time, is having to really work hard to maintain her level with particularly with Salinero there. He's a horse that tends to warm up through the competition, doesn't he? But he had an awful lot to catch up with last week, didn't he, Claudia? Yeah. I think Enki did not have her best test in Grand Prix, as she normally has not her best test in Grand Prix. But Enki is an incredible rider. She has such a lot of rider feeling for timing and feeling for bringing the horse to more relaxation and to more very well going things. And she did that again this championship. And of course it was difficult for her to acknowledge that she might not have a medal, an individual medal. But in the end she was very happy with her freestyle test. And she said,
I hardly couldn't have done it better than I did now, and I still am so very happy with Salinero being in the top or already 5 or 6 years, and it still gives me a great feeling. And at the end, when the sport is this good, it's only one tiny little mistake that makes a difference. And again, Salinero did not properly halt. So she won the bronze medal with only 0.1 of percentage less than Adelinde's silver medal. So with 2 proper halts, she would have won a silver medal. Yeah, and Totilas, it's a different story, but it happens almost never that you have a horse like this. And now we have Totilas and we have Ravel in America. So it's amazing.
Well, we do, and that really leads me to a point. Reese and I have talked about this already, and I think there will be a lot of conversations about Tortillas versus Ravel for the 2010 World Equestrian Games here in Kentucky. That's got to be the showdown that people are going to be waiting for, looking forward to, and much anticipated. Only because we've seen such wonderful tests from Ravel as a young horse already, stealing the show in Aachen earlier this year, and we've seen Tortillas breaking world records. So, any predictions, Claudia?
Well, the only prediction I can make is that the horse that goes without mistakes will be the winner, because they are both. They can both get marks 9 and 10. So yes. The horse that goes without mistakes will be the winner.
Will be the winner. It'll be
and I won't count out Parsifal as well, because the harmony that's over that pair is incredible. So if she is the one that goes without mistakes, she might be the winner.
Any predictions as to what that would happen with the teams? I guess that's really early until we know what the teams look like, and we're a year out. But based on what happened at the Europeans and the World Cup, those are clearly indicators, and we'll be watching the World Cup qualifiers and the final again this winter, Claudia, to see how things are shaping up. But any feelings now about where the medals are going to fall next year on the team event?
The German team chef Holger Smeetser was very happy for the results of dressage and for the dressage being this wonderful. And he said, at the moment, I cannot find an answer in Germany yet, because our horses are too young. They still need some more years, so probably the Olympics in London, we will have horses that have the answer for these incredible horses. I don't have the answer yet, so I think then if he is honest and he tells us this story, then I think Germany will be very happy with the bronze medal again. But Sweden is being very strong, so they are also on their way for improvement with the help of German Hubertus Schmidt and some more nice trainers and coaches. And then we will have America and the Netherlands. But America probably might have some problems in getting more good riders next to Stefan Peters as well, haven't they?
Well, I think that's going to be a challenge, isn't it, Reese? Because, we've got one star and a lot of people vying for a spot on that team, Reese.
There are, and I would like to be on that team myself, but we'll see what my horse Casper does. But certainly I'm a young combination as well, and there's with Adrian Lyle, there's a lot of younger riders who are kind of in the same position. But I think this coming year will be interesting and time for us all to get some experience. So it'll be fun to see what happens.
Well, it really will, and we'll be following the World Cup qualifiers and the final, Claudia, with you, and we really appreciate you sharing the European Championship experience with us. It must have been absolutely wonderful to be a part of that and to see history in the making.
I wouldn't have missed it for gold.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch up with you as the World Cup qualifiers get underway during this winter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Klaatje.
Thank you.
Well, what celebrations they had, Reese. Obviously an event that everyone is going to remember for a long time to come.
That's true, and I'm just so jealous I wasn't there to see it in person, to be honest.
I know, me too. I've covered a lot of the major competitions for many years now, and Europeans, World Cup finals, and Olympics, and WEGs, and you always get wonderful competitions, but when you get something like this, and I had to miss out on it, that's a shame. But at least we have, thanks to the internet, we have the opportunity to watch that on YouTube, that wonderful ride of Edward Gal, and we're going to try and get Edward on the show in the very near future, because I'm sure our listeners will want to hear from him, the new star of dressage.
Absolutely. I hope I'm the one. I'm here. Heather's taking on tour again, so I can be here. But I can't wait. And really, everyone should check it out. I have to be honest. I even had my husband sit down last night to watch it and he was just in awe. It's just it's really a beautiful test, and everyone should watch it, because it really shows what we're all doing every day, and it's just really something everyone should take about 6 minutes to watch. It's worth it for sure.
For all trainers to say, okay, guys, this is what it should look like.
Exactly. This is it. And it really, I had goosebumps watching it. And actually, I ended up watching more. I spent about half an hour last night online just watching, and I would encourage everyone to do it.
All right, terrific. Well, we're going to take another commercial break here, Reese, and then we're going to get to your training tip of the week.
Well, thank you, Chris and Reese. Just wanted to mention our friends at Kentucky Performance Products. They are really getting active now on Facebook, like everyone seems to be. You can go to Facebook and just search for Kentucky Performance Products. They offer lots of great tips on there for horses' health, and they have a lot of conversation going on over there. So I encourage you to hop on over to Facebook and search for Kentucky Performance Products and become a fan of their fan page. Kentucky Performance Products offers supplements designed to target specific problems and are made with high-quality ingredients included at effective levels. The company's supplements are intended to complement, not compete, with your horse's current feeding program, guarding against oversupplementation. As we're coming into fall, don't forget that your horses still need electrolytes when they're out competing and getting all sweaty and stuff. So, Summer Games electrolytes were developed specifically for use at the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta. Formulated to replace key electrolytes and trace minerals at the proper ratio, Summer Games increases your horse's tolerance to exercise and speeds recovery time. Its concentrated low-sugar formula provides more electrolytes per dose than many leading brands. For horses on the go, use Summer Games Plus Paste. The revolutionary electrolyte paste contains Nalox, equine, and acid. The dual-action electrolyte offers horses the extra benefit of buffering the stomach at stressful times. Learn more about Summer Games electrolytes and all the products at Kentucky Performance Products at kppusa.com. That's kppusa.com.
Well, thanks again to our sponsors, KPP USA. They can be found at kppusa.com, as Glenn mentioned. And we're coming now to Reese's training tip of the week, standing in for Heather here. What have you got for us this week, Reese?
Well, Chris, I wanted to talk about the ever-popular leg yield. It's really a question I get a lot. My horse is stiff. How do I make him better? How do I get my horse more active off my leg aids? So I decided the ever-popular leg yield, because there's lots of forms of the leg yield. If you look at the test, it's not just always going down the center line and leg yielding to the rail. There are other forms of this leg yield, and really what the riders want to think is that their inside leg is at the girth and their outside leg is just a neutral leg. And you're pushing the horse off the inside leg, engaging that inside hind leg, and having a little bit more connection on the outside rein, which is really what we're working on. So some of the ways to do leg yields are things, for example, on a circle. If you're on a circle, let's say at C, there's a nice open side of that circle, And what I like to do is have my students push their horses out. I say make the circle really fat. Try to get to X. That way, pushing the horses off your inside leg, but then your outside rein and leg need to be there to kind of catch the horse so that he can't just fall out the shoulder, but that he's connected there. And that connection is what you really need for things such as corners and other turns that will help. So you can leg yield on the circle. You can also leg yield along the wall. That's a different form of a leg yield, but it's the same. And for leg yielding along the wall, you have the horse's nose on the rail, and then you're actually pushing the horse's haunches off the rail, but you stay for the full exercise along the wall. So you don't move off the long side, but the horse's nose is facing the boards, and their haunches are slightly to the inside. So at this point, you're pushing the horse what would in theory be your inside rein, but since you've changed the flexion, you push them to that outside rein. It's again, you're pushing the horse using that inside leg and pushing to the outside rein and leg. And what a leg yield does is it makes sure that the horse is active off your lateral aids. So when you put your leg on, your horse moves away from it in a active, quick fashion. And the other thing is it just helps in general with bending and flexion, thinking kind of yoga for horses. It really helps to have them bend side to side. And it's a great exercise, and it's used. You should use it every day, all the way to Grand Prix. From little babies, from 4-year-olds on up, can learn to leg yield. So I hope that's a helpful exercise.
Well, thank you, Reese. Just one thing I wanted to pull out of there when you said an active, quick response to the leg yield, and I'm sure you mean not quick in that it would be sudden, but it would be flowing and more of an active response for the horses to be responsive to your aids. I think that's what we're looking at. We're looking for smooth, but not quick or jerky. But
right.
I'm sure you meant responsive. That they are immediately responsive to you, right?
Right. And a lot of times you put your leg on, and the horse just kind of says, what do you want? And we want to kind of get rid of that. We want that when you put your leg on, that the horse just softly moves away from it, but there's a response. A lot of times there's no response, and that's what we want to kind of get rid of, because then the riders say, oh, but my horse, he's so stiff and he doesn't move. Well, part of that reason is because he is not responsive to that aid. So that's a great way to put it.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you for that, Reese. We appreciate it, and we'll always want to hear your questions when it comes to training tips and anything that you're interested in. We really love to hear from you, and I know you have a listener's question again this week. And who's that from, Reese?
I do. I have a listener question from Whitney Todd, and she has a great question. And her question is, how would you tackle problems or things that come up when you're training your horse, especially when you don't have a trainer, or that your trainer isn't there on that particular day? And because this is a question, I think it's hard for everyone, and having my personal trainer is away, so I have a really good communication with her. But there are things that come up that you need to solve, and you need to be by yourself. So some of the things that I tell my students to do on a daily basis, I really want to see a riding journal. What are you doing every day? Is there a pattern to the problem that you're having on that particular day or that particular week? Can you trace it back to your horse needs to get his teeth done, or he needs to get his feet done, or something like that? That's always a good way. Is there a pattern with the problem? And always we want to consult our veterinarians and farriers first if there's ever a training problem, so we know that the horse is sound and healthy. Then another way that I would suggest is video diary. Have your husband or your friend or someone videotape the problem and send it to professionals. There's lots of professionals. We would love to help you in any way, shape, or form we can. And if that's watching a video, we can tell a lot through the video. So don't feel that the trainers aren't accessible and don't want to talk and help, because that's our job, and we love to help riders and horses. So a video diary is a great way. And then listening to the radio show, hopefully you get lots of fun tips while listening to the radio show as well. And there are lots of books and magazines that are on, out and available at all local stores or online. And then things like watching Edward, that's inspiring to everyone. And taking time sometime to watch what horses are doing. It's so wonderful that we have access now through the internet and different media tools that we can see the top riders riding in the world on a daily basis and take advantage of that, because sometimes just having that wonderful example is everything that you need. So,
well, it certainly contributes to it, doesn't it? I know if you watch the top riders in any discipline, and I was watching just last week, a couple of weeks ago now, the Hunter Derby finals here in the horse park race, and watching those riders, they were judged by 8 judges. They were all looking at the same thing, and as a hunter rider, you have to make everything look totally seamless and not show your aids at all. What the judge is looking for is that horse is going seamlessly through transitions and before and after the jump and the leg changes and things like that. And so everything had to be totally invisible to the judges, and that's what we're looking for with dressage or any horse sport, really. We're looking for you to perfect the aids and the application of the aids and the response of your horse, so they're very subtle and they happen seamlessly, right? That's perfection, isn't it, Reese?
Exactly. And just to be able, even I want to tune into your coverage of the Hunter Derby, because I heard it was so beautiful, and just watching those horses go, and truly as riders and trainers and just horse admirers, it's just so fun to see all of that. And we all know how difficult that is in any sport. So I also enjoyed, we had the reining test event here at the horse park a few weeks ago, and to see different horse sports, it's just inspiring, and it makes me want to come back and ride the next day even better. So there are ways. Certainly the best is having a trainer and working with a trainer on a daily basis, but life gets in the way, and that's not always the way we can do it. But it just takes a little bit of time and a computer now and listening and that type of thing, and you can really learn. But it's great to have somebody that you can talk to and speak to either on the phone or with the video. That's really helpful, and it makes it less. It's very frustrating, so hopefully that'll help ease some frustration.
Well, you mentioned that Hunter Derby that is available for viewing. Those finals, which were filmed by Equestrian Life, our presenting sponsor here at the Dressage Radio Show. So if you want to watch those, and I encourage you to do that too, Reese, so you mentioned that, go to equestrianlife.com and click on the videos and follow the video coverage that we do of that and various other events at equestrianlife.com. Well, that about wraps it up this week. Reese, we want to thank you for joining us. We want to encourage our listeners to follow our show notes at dressageradio.com and give us their feedback. You can leave a voicemail at 270-803-0025. That number is on our website. You can email me and Heather. Heather can be reached at heather@horseradionetwork.com and chris@horseradionetwork.com. We also have a fan page on Facebook, and we also can be followed on Twitter. That's Horse Radio on Twitter. And I know you're tweeting too now, Reese.
I am tweeting. We finally got together for lunch, Chris and I, and she showed me how to tweet. So I am tweeting. Not very good at it, but please follow me on my Twitter account, and that would be great. So
that address is Reese Koffler. You can follow Reese Koffler now on Twitter. You can follow Horse Radio, and you can follow Heather Blitz. Then you can also catch up with Reese on her website, maplecrestfarmky.com. We would also like to thank our sponsors again, Equestrian Life, our presenting sponsor, and Kentucky Performance Products that can be found at kppusa.com. Well, next week you can tune in when we'll be talking to Courtney King-Dye. She will be our guest next week when Heather will be back, Reese. So we want to thank you so much for standing in for Heather, and we look forward to having her back next week. But you'll come and visit us again, I hope.
Oh, absolutely. It's been lots of fun. Thanks for listening and giving me the experience. It's been wonderful.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy your riding.
Thanks, everybody, for listening, and enjoy your riding.
On the Dressage Radio Show next week, Edward Gold joins us to tell us about his record-breaking win at the European Championships and his relationship with Moorlands Tortillas. It's an episode you won't want to miss, so tune in next week for episode 16 of the Dressage Radio Show.